Which button is it? This one.
Run VT. I think that's become a thing now, hasn't it?
So, hello and welcome to our, well, I would normally say weekly Gamescast, but we had a little summer off, but the restart of our weekly Gamescast. So it will be weekly from now on for the rest of the year. So welcome to our weekly HudUniGames cast, coming to you yet again from our home offices. Still, for now, we're held back by a certain virus. The virus who shall not be named. So my name is Duke. If
Dangerously
you haven't met me yet, and I'm joined today by Daryl and Matt.
Hi.
Hey, how we doing?
So we're going to talk a little bit about the return to Huddersfield and the return to university, or the arrival. So welcome all our first years. We have a boatload of those arrived 2 days ago, and all our second years and final years started arriving virtually today. So let's move to the slides and see where we're at. So this is Gamescast number 21.
Wow.
Number 21. Rattling them off, sort of, maybe. Yeah.
Except the massive break. Let's not talk about the massive break we've just had from it.
Big break in the middle.
Do you remember when we said we weren't going to have a break, and then it was like, coronavirus, summer.
You said it. You actually went and said it. We agreed we weren't going to mention it.
Oops.
Yeah,
never mind. I'll live.
But the break means that our first years should hopefully be joining us for this stream now for the first time as well, which should be interesting for them to see us sort of fluff our way through a live stream.
Well, some of them must be, because we're at 55 viewers, and I'm sure we normally sit around 30. So
it's got to 60 already.
61. Does that mean there are 20 of our first years arrived? Well, anyway, wherever you are, first, second, final, or Gary's here. I don't know anybody else. Are there any other grads here? Maybe I haven't seen any.
Not in the chat yet, anyway. But they might just be watching.
Well,
without saying anything.
Josh is technically on placement, and Dan's on.
Scott says
Scott's on. Yeah.
So let's nip through these slides. So I think it's most important of all the slides that we bring back what's on the box. For our first years, Matt, do you want to tell them what's on the box?
Now, first thing, do you have the trailer lined up for what's on the box or not?
Give me a sec.
Because as we all know, the trailer is the best part of it.
You seem to think that's
no, it's
problematic in my opinion.
You just keep distracting people while I find.
Okay, so I'll tell you what's on the box is for those that haven't seen it before.
I found it. Are you ready?
You can play
it. Yeah, here we go.
Be amazed.
What? What you can say?
You tell me. The box. Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box?
It's just so bad.
What's in the box?
It's so bad that I could have made that.
It took me a whole of a drunken evening. It's amazing.
Clearly not drunk enough.
So, what's on the box for those that haven't seen it before is a fun little game that we play where we read the descriptions on the back of a game box, and then we have to try and guess what that game is just from the description. And what we do, we try and, when it's our go, we'll hide the chat, because the chat is usually ridiculously good at guessing these, and the rest of us aren't. Especially this week, because I've picked a game that probably Duke and Daryl won't get because they're old. So
can't argue that.
Nice.
Not anymore.
Kiss your mother with that mouth.
Yeah, and I love it. Normally, games that are really, really old from Josh, it's like not that old. And actually, the one I've picked this time is new.
I see Sonny's missed this high quality production. Shouldn't you be working, Sonny?
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's on the box is first. There's an explanation. I forgot that bit. That's what they guess on the what's in the box is. It's me first. Oh, now there was way too much. Oh, compile times. Yes, Sonny. There was way too much text on the back of this box, so I just took 2 bits, which I think are enough. So let's see how you get on. The explosive follow-up to one of the most loved PC games of all time. And I think this one is enough. Will you lead an American victory parade in the streets of New York or host a Soviet victory celebration in the White House? I'm going to watch. You guys don't watch the chat. I will watch the chat.
Actually, I was going to quickly hide the chat.
Hang on, we've gone down to 55. What happened to our 61 viewers?
We
put
bought
them off already.
only took 4 minutes.
Well, we're sorry. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I need the timer on, don't I? Is my timer still running? Oh yeah, 30 seconds. There you go.
Okay, so I'm thinking it's got to be either
two of them, right?
like Wolfenstein, or Call of Duty.
I'm going to go Command and Conquer, but it probably isn't, is it? Command and Conquer.
Most loved PC games, and like Wolfenstein is most.
Let's go. It's a follow-up. So Command and Conquer 2, then.
I'm going
Was
with.
there a Command and Conquer 2?
I don't know.
Oh, time's up.
Okay, I'm going with sequel to Wolfenstein.
No, and Daryl, you're sticking with
Command and Conquer 2.
Well, you're close. It's Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, there we go then.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's Nazi. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that Wolfenstein. That was not Russians. That was Germans, wasn't it?
Yeah, I played this far too much when I was a student. That would have been. So what year did it come out? Because I was playing it like 97ish, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right, onwards. Matt's box. Some text. A relaxing hotel game. Oh, where's Matt's voice gone?
Goo wrong. Is that a typo or is that deliberate?
What could possibly go wrong?
Did we just lose Matt's voice then? Or does that just?
Did we? Am I still here?
No,
I can hear you
now.
I can hear you. But it's just...
Yeah.
For a few moments you went away.
Is it? Well, I can only think of World of Goo that could possibly. That doesn't really apply.
Not with the hotel getaway, but the goo wrong bit. World of Goo. That was Greek. I need to play World of Goo again. Relaxing hotel getaway. No.
Yeah, I've only got World of Goo in my head. I can't think of anything else.
I knew both of you were too old for this.
Yeah. Well then, you ready? Reveal. Oh.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Not played it. Paul, you have a physical copy.
So it's got ectoplasm, is what we're talking about, is it? Is that the thing?
Yeah, there's a second character in the game called Gooigi, which is basically Luigi made out of goo.
Of course there is. My turn, right?
But I was just going to say, because it's on Switch, if it's any good and it's a physical copy, I may just borrow it. That's right.
I'll next time we are in physical presence of each other, I'll let you borrow it.
No rush. Right, Daryl's box. Whoa, you've gone the wrong way around, Daryl.
Huh? What?
I just revealed the thing.
Yeah, no, you had them wrong way around. You had your image first.
I did not. I did not.
You did.
I did not.
You did. Look, when I go forwards, one slide, it's your box.
Well, there we go.
Can anyone guess what's on Daryl's
box?
Yeah,
that's kind of immensely frustrating, isn't it?
I think we need F in the chat for Daryl.
Yeah, there's several Fs.
They were covered up. They're still covered up in the slide that I've got. They're still covered up. I don't understand how you managed to break it, Duke, and I blame you completely.
We'll have to fix it.
You know what? Has anyone actually played Cool Spot in the chat? Because I remember it being a very good little platformer.
It is. It's fantastic.
No,
it's got a lovely.
I don't think I ever played
it.
Oh, some did.
Yeah. But isn't Cool Spot just the mascot for Pepsi though?
Do you think you would have got it? Read the thing. Do you think you would have got it? I love the powers uncool.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have got that.
Damn it.
No, I wouldn't have got that at all.
No.
Oh, 7-Up mascot. Someone's put in the chat. Not the Pepsi one. Yeah, the 7-Up one. That's it.
There's a quote from you here, Daryl. Josh has nailed your. You need a T-shirt. I don't know this new technology.
Actually, you don't really
missed the word "fangled" out of that.
Newfangled.
I don't know this newfangled technology.
Yeah, you don't really get games that are made around a mascot anymore, like a branded mascot. Like the last one I can think of was the Burger King games on the Xbox 360. Did anyone get those? No, just me. Cool.
Just you.
They made some Burger King games that where you played the king sneaking around people's gardens. It was really weird.
Oh, wow. Apparently Doritos have some crash course.
Oh, they still do them then.
Yeah, looks like it.
Look at those poor game devs that are making the mascotted version games.
Jake says, of course, Daryl whips out a game from 1921. Yeah, well, Daryl was near retirement at that stage. Right, onwards then to the actual main event.
Okay, so
return or arrive at uni.
So we're having a little bit of a brief discussion today. We've already had a chat with our first years on Monday, and we had a chat with our second years and final years this morning. But we thought we'd share with everyone, whether they're watching on YouTube or later on or whatever, just some of the changes that we've put in place this year to make uni work in the new world that we're in. I don't know if it's a good world or not, but it's a world that we're in.
It's moving forward to a new normal.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully temporary normal. So so some things we want to talk about: semesterisation of modules. That's happened across all of the years and was always a plan, but we'll go into that. The difference between synchronous and asynchronous sessions, which you'll have started seeing asynchronous popping up on timetables. There's been several questions coming in about synchronous and asynchronous and timetable, particularly timetables. First years were having problems this morning loading their timetables. So talk a bit about that. Blended learning, which is kind of related to that. Some of the new tools that we're adopting. And then the importance of Discord, which I think we've never seen quite such the uptake we've seen with the first years this year. They've dived straight in, so that's really good. Really chuffed to see that engagement.
Yeah, not blender learning, blended learning. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Isn't Scott a big Blender fan?
He is. He was probably quite excited until he read it.
Yeah, it was like, wait, we're moving to Blender? I'm in.
Finally. So semesterisation, yeah, I mean, you just glossed over that, Duke.
No, it's because we've got actual slides.
Oh, right.
That was the outline, Daryl.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
should have paid more attention earlier.
We have a lot to discuss about semesterisation actually, because as a team we've been working behind the scenes for quite a few years now, haven't we? Planning how semesterisation would work.
Yeah.
So
we've always wanted it because we thought doing long things was just weird. So yeah. But yeah, having it sprung on us the way it was quite surprising. But for those of you entering first year, you'll not know any different, so it should be totally fine. It's going to be slightly different for our final year students who, they've gone through 2 entire years of long things and suddenly returning to this. It should be better.
But there's so much evidence that says it's a good idea, isn't there? That going
short. I've got to admit, 6 weeks we've got 6 weeks for advanced 3D and 6 weeks for Viz. That's a very brief period of time to make sure that everyone's done what they can in a module. But
yeah,
so hit the ground running, guys. I've already said this a few times, but I've sent things out for you today. Get planning right now.
Yeah, so
start Monday.
So for anyone watching on YouTube later, maybe someone that's potentially looking at joining us for 2021 or anything like that, the old method a lot of universities have used for a very long time is the long thin method for modules. So you'd have lots of modules, lots of different subjects, and they would all run in parallel to each other for the whole year, for all 24 weeks of a university year. And it had its pros, but it had a lot of cons, and those were that students basically had lots of plates to keep spinning at the same time. They had lots of projects to make sure that they were keeping on top of, and sometimes that. It was difficult to keep those plates spinning, and if one dropped, sometimes they would all slowly start dropping. So for the last few years, we've been planning how would we switch to this short fat model where you do some of your modules in the first half of the year and the rest in the second half. And we've kind of been planning for a long time how would some lead nicely into others. Now, one of the big pros of short fat modules is that not only do you not have to worry about as many modules at the same time, but actually by Christmas actually how you've done on half of your modules because you've already got your grades. You already know if you've passed or failed those modules. So it's it's a much nicer approach to academia, because you have more information to play with, you have more information to go off. So for our final years, especially when they're trying to calculate their final degree qualification and things like that, they kind of know around January roughly where they sit, and they know what they're aiming for. If they're pushing for that first class degree, it'll give them a little bit of a, all right, and I definitely need to get a first in this next module in this one, and I need to get at least a minimum of a 65 or whatever in this to make sure I get that first. So it allows them to calculate and work towards a goal a little bit easier.
I think it also helps.
Go on,
Yeah, so it also helps in a where things start to go a bit wrong. You were saying before that, if you wait till the end of the year before you found out everything's gone down the toilet, as it were, then it's a bit too late and it can be a real challenge over summer trying to recover 6 modules. But with tutor refer opportunities, being able to get them done in that first week of January or first few weeks of January, get that pass got and out the way. I mean, hopefully nobody in that situation, but sometimes something happens. There's always, and it might not be, it could be an extenuating circumstance of some kind. But I'm looking forward to teaching in this way, and I think, I mean, there's less on your plate per week, fewer modules to deal with, should I say?
I'm really looking forward to character animation with this new system. So
I think 6 weeks is going to be intense, isn't it? But really,
that's a different kettle of fish entirely. Let's see how we get on with that one.
I think the 6 week thing, if anyone hasn't picked up yet, is that in the final year, we've actually got 2 of our modules, Advanced 3D and Advanced Visual Design, which are not running in the 12-week semester block, but actually running in 2 6 weeks. So we'll have Advanced 3D running first for 6 weeks, and then Advanced Viz for 6 weeks, and that is really intense. Then
24 hours a week of individual personal study time. That's loads.
Yeah,
so instead of short fat, is that like miniature obese?
Yeah, pretty much. It kind of is that I'm really looking forward to actually Advanced Viz this year. I think it's going to be really. It's going to be difficult, especially trying to make sure that every student is staying on top of what they need to do and making sure that we're pushing forward with each individual and they're getting enough feedback in that time frame. But I think if we all work together, I think it's going to be a really exciting module, because it's just, let's focus on visual, let's focus on this one thing, and it's not, you don't have to split your focus at all.
I mean, we've got nearly 10 students that have come back from placement as well, and they've done this already. They know what that feels like, sort of working on something, in a linear fashion rather than sort of like getting staggered little scratchy bits and pieces. And I've always preferred to work that way. I just like to get my teeth into something and focus on it until it's done. I don't like the distraction having to sort of like juggle, many balls simultaneously, and do a little bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of the other. And I know for a fact that a lot of our students have kind of worked that way over the years anyway. You've given all the assignments at the beginning of the year, and then what they really do is just save them up to the end of the year all in one chunk anyway, don't they? But this is different. I mean, this means that you've got deadlines that are staggered. It means that you've got an opportunity to really concentrate on one piece of work until you're very happy with it.
I can see in the chat. I see the chat. Jake, who's one of our graduates from last year, saying that's a smashing idea. It was hard to balance both of those modules at the same time.
But also, there's a question from Josh, still a year to do the dissertation. Yeah, there are 2 modules still running full year, and that's in final year. The dissertation module runs across both semesters, and in second year, prototyping 2 runs across both semesters. So
I just mentioned team project because I think that's final year team project. This is. I mean, I suppose the same thing applies to all team projects. Yeah. I mentioned it earlier on the stream we did earlier today, but and that is running in the second semester. But by all means, please think about who you want to work with. You can discuss that with me. For the next few months, start thinking about games ideas, start thinking about building maybe sort of like some sort of functional mini prototypes just to sort of like check a few game mechanics, think about art style, that what you're comfortable with collectively. I'm going to put you in teams of roughly 6. And you'll probably be working on one game all the way through, but we're going to obviously discuss that in more depth as we go forward, but we don't have anything scheduled in a timetable yet to discuss something that is really crucial and vitally important that we get right for next academic year. Next
so,
semester, not a year.
So just to clarify the team projects, because it's coming up in the chat saying are the game jams not running there? No. So what's actually happening is that, so anyone that's watching again, is that you can go and watch some of the videos on the game jams at Huddersfield. We run our team project modules in game jam format. So really intense 1 week. You come in at 9 o'clock and you work all the way through till 5 every day from Monday to Friday. And we do those in sort of blocks. But what's happening this year, instead of running them at one at the beginning of the year, one in the middle of the year, and one at the end, they're just going to all run in semester 2. So the first one will be in January, and then the second one will be in the end of February, and the third one will be for our final years, will be the very last week of term.
And just to clarify that point, that will be final years only. That third. Well, it could be a sprint. I mean, let's be clear. We call them jams, but realistically, they're big sprints for our final year students because they tend to work on one title.
Yeah, then I think actually it's going to be really exciting actually, because especially for the final years, because they'll have gotten a big bulk of their work done before Christmas, and then we're going to go into semester 2, where it's all about team project and dissertation. So they're just going to have to split their work from my own very, very personalized project for their dissertation and working for the collective of the team. So it should be quite an interesting approach to that final year semester.
I think maybe just to build on what you just said, and maybe just emphasize the point, you'll have learned a lot in those first 2 modules, a tremendous amount. So that, just think about the skill level you should have elevated yourself to by the time you hit final year team project. I think it should be exciting and interesting.
Let's move on to the slides. So here we go. This would have been a handy slide. We were talking about that. So breaking down the how we've semesterized the modules. You can see the final year project and prototyping 2 running across both. The reason final year looks longer is because of those 2 6-week advanced 3D and advanced Viz. Any of you doing prototyping 3 with me, any of you doing prototyping 3 with me, you get to run that full first semester. I think there are only about 6 or 7 of you. So we're going to get some really awesome stuff built, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah, I think prototyping 3 for was it was kind of the trial year last year of introducing it, but working with the students last year like Reese and Kyle and Safe, is that you've managed to, I think, come up with a really nice module there, which allows the slightly more technical students to actually explore a little bit more of game dev, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh no, it's going to be awesome. I mean, if this module was designed for people like Reese last year, for Aaron this year, it's their kind. It's for them, isn't it? Really, prototyping 3, and I'm hoping over the next few years, more of our students will start picking up on that module. What are you messaging in Teams?
No. Not,
okay. The only problem is if I try and read that Teams, it will probably
it's fine. It's fine.
The random places.
It's okay. Matt's answered my question. It's totally fine.
Cool. Okay. Do you want to mention anything else about this slide? I think we covered it all in the previous.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, we kind of discussed it quite a bit.
You don't want to talk about teaching. You don't want to talk about teaching team before you move on to teams.
What do you mean team?
Well, the fact that we've had a change of teaching team.
Oh, team. Right. I thought you meant team project. Well, yes, I suppose. Well, we could mention the fact that I think most will know by now, well, the first years won't, that Carlo left us over the summer, has moved on to Pastors New. I think our second and final years, we've already mentioned that Ash and Mick have joined us, although anyone watching this vlog at the end of through last year would have noted or seen them anyway. And the first years, well, they're only just met us. So there have been a few changes. Carlo leaving being, I guess, the biggest one. The games analysis module on second year there is being taught. We're just sorting out paperwork for a part-time hourly paid to go and do that. Chatting to Ian, he's really switched on and engaged with the design process and the stuff he was talking about when we were chatting to him the other day. It sounds like that visual design module. I mean, I didn't know it. Games design module. I didn't know it before. When Carlo ran it, I mean, it was a module that Carlo ran, but I never really knew what was in it. But talking to Ian, I think it's going to be really fascinating. module this year.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, the new member we've got to run that module. He is extremely passionate about games and game theory, and you can just tell just by talking to him and seeing his research that he's been doing, that it's going to be. I think it's going to be quite an interesting module for all those students that are taking that one.
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, onwards. Icons. I think somebody said, "Oh, they look like Adobe icons," but I would agree. Except these are so much better.
Essentially, so this entire slide is
where I
basically
post by my meme again. Go on, carry on.
This entire slide just basically discussed that it's something that every student is going to have to get used to over the next couple of weeks and months. Is that Teams is going to be a big part of university for this year. It's part of the way that the games team here we've and the university in general has decided that we can do distanced and online learning if we run everything through Teams. It takes a little bit of getting used to. It's a little bit, as Duke we were discussing it the other day, saying it's because it's Microsoft, it's a little bit like run by committee in some of the decisions that they've made in terms of how things work. When you compare it to something like Discord is very fluid and it's like got lots of features that are very user friendly. Whereas Teams, there's a lot of features for the back end for integration into different services and integration into different tools, but the front end's a little bit clumsy. But I think once you get over that little clumsiness, it's very powerful, and it'll allow us to do a lot of cool little things like running learning sets and running. So one thing I'm going to be doing in advanced phys, for instance, is I'm going to be splitting the class into little smaller study groups of what subject they're sort of studying, so I can jump from study group to study group in a lesson and sort of get them discussing things in a more fluid way. Try and have that classroom sort of environment, but still online.
And I'm going to try and do that and probably fail.
Probably the first few times.
Because of that newfangled technology.
Yeah, newfangled technology.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be that. I think the biggest challenge actually is going to be balancing Discord, Teams, email, Zoom, whatever and trying to make sure that we're people aren't missing out, and particularly Brightspace in the way as well, and all the videos being put on Microsoft Stream. We've got so many different sources of information that a lot of, particularly some of my early videos for my module, are how to use all of these systems and how they're all going to integrate. And I know Ash has done one like that. So I think we're all going to be getting used to this blended learning approach. But I think it's quite cool, exciting. One of the weirdest things, I don't know if you guys are finding this about blended learning, is when you lecture to a whole load of people, like 100 people, and you're getting all that energy and banter and chat and discussion. Whereas now I'm lecturing to a small box, little black box with Fujifilm written on the front. So it's
really disconcerting. Weird. It is. I keep getting to look at the camera. I'm constantly looking around the camera at other things that I've got on screen, but I always forget to look sort of like down the camera lens. It's just kind of weird as well. Yeah. But
sometimes though it can be a little bit creepy when you just stare at the camera though and just entice everyone into.
Oh God, Mac! Yeah.
If we stare at the camera,
that's quite hypnotic.
But if you just stare at the camera, you can't see them what's going on all the other screens.
No, absolutely not. No, maybe I won't do that.
Gary says stop.
Yeah, okay. Lesson learned. Won't be doing that.
Anyway, that's that one.
There was something I was going to add to that, and I've completely forgotten what it was now. No, I know what it was. It was down to engagement. It was that whole thing of the final years last year, the ones that have now graduated, just really were outstanding at moving online and engaging, and the discussions I felt personally, and actually at the time I think some of the students, graduates are in the chat. There were a lot of comments that actually, because they were seeing other people's works in some cases for the first time, that it felt more dynamic actually being delivered via video than it had been in class. I think the other issue, it's a kind of a sliding scale, because obviously my second years didn't engage quite as much. I couldn't get them to use the cameras quite so much, and they weren't turning up to every session. And I understand that first year was a bit of a disaster. But I think, if you engage with it, I think we said this earlier today, if you engage with it, it can be fantastic.
Absolutely.
The levels of learning you can get in this approach, like it's not ideal for everything, but actually this online approach can actually benefit quite a lot of discussions and this sort of learning that can't really happen in the classroom when you've got a class of 30 people or whatever. Like that's like the maximum we kind of have in a class. We never really get to that number. But when you have those bigger numbers, sometimes people can get lost. And I'm hoping that the use of technology, use of this visual medium will allow us to have those discussions, jump into little learning sets, jump into little discussion groups, and actually have some more one-on-one discussions that you probably normally wouldn't have had. Just because of like pushing into rooms and stuff, is that you go into a room, you tend to talk to a whole class, whereas online it's talking to people, talking to individuals a little bit more.
Well, we've got a slide coming up in a short while because we're obviously using a particular technology which we'll talk about in a sec, but that allows us to have, we've currently got Teams running. I'm on a Teams chat with Ash and Mick. I'm in the Zoom chat with these guys, and we could run multiple video streams at the same time. It's really quite cool. We'll talk about that shortly. Well, moving on.
Okay, so next slide along is team projects, which we've kind of already talked about. The only thing I think it's worth mentioning at this point, team project wise, is that the first lectures for team projects are actually in semester 1. They're right at the end of semester 1. And that's because we want you to do some prep work over Christmas, thinking rather than actual coding or anything. Over Christmas, we didn't want to go into semester 2 and just hit the road, hit the tarmac running, as it were. We wanted to do some prep, so it's worth noting, keep an eye out near the end of this semester. There will be the lectures for that. I think all 3 have their lectures, don't they, at the end?
Yeah, as I said earlier, 12, I'm personally more than happy to have little mini discussions with people that are trying to, set themselves into teams, have got game ideas. Let's start that right away. We might have several months before we're really kicking off with this, but chat. Let's make sure what we've got.
I know that some of the guys from over on EPY that have come back to Final Year, they're wanting to have a good discussion about what they can do and stuff like that. So if you're watching, get in touch with Daryl and start chatting straight away. I know it's not until next semester, but there's no harm in discussing what you plan on doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Next slide is Discord. I think pretty much everyone came here from Discord. So
yeah,
do we need to talk about Discord?
Not really. Well, it was more of a case of I put this in as a quick discussion point because I was very surprised. Like every year we've used Discord, we've had a certain level of engagement with it. Is that not everybody, but a healthy population of every year group will be on it and they'll be chatting away. But for the first year in a long time, the first year's really jumped on board, didn't they? Yeah. They've been really engaged on the Discord. It's been great to see them getting to know each other, jumping on the voice chats, and actually I've even seen them organizing gaming sessions with each other on there. I know we're in a weird situation right now where the normal freshers get to know each other sort of scenario doesn't exist. So it's good to see that Discord has sort of taken the virtual place of the pub and the icebreaker sessions that we would normally have done.
They're actually chatting right now. First, yes.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. That's... So they're chatting about some of the sessions on the timetable. So yeah, it's really handy having Discord as the. But I think it's important to remember that we've lined it up or set it up more as the informal, or unofficial chat point. Keeping Teams for the and this is something we're all going to get used to, isn't it? Teams is the official, like being in a lesson chat, or coming to the office for help chat, whereas Discord is the informal feedback. It's the informal chit chat, the gaming and things like that. So balancing those two. I mean, it's quite handy that you can have several windows open all at the same time and watch the chats go past. Keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, and I do think one of the new channels in Discord, which is now my favorite, is the pets channel. Everyone just.
I haven't looked today yet.
That was Gary. He just randomly created it, I think, and everyone has just been posting pictures of their dogs, cats, budgies, horses. I think there was even some llamas in there at one point. Uh,
It's exclusionary, that not being allergic to everything, every animal.
Hang on a minute. You're not allergic to pictures of them, though, you silly sod.
No, I mean I can't post one. What pets? Do
you
I
could
have?
have.
You must have some earthworms in the garden.
I don't have any fish.
And yes, you could have fish. I've got about 9.
Maybe I'll buy some fish so I can take pictures and put them in the pets channel.
Yeah,
Well, I
I'm
know
gonna take pictures of
that
my fish later.
I know that Kiara in Canalside this year, she's set up her camera feed to be her just pointed at her fish tank. So as they're in meetings and stuff, she'll see the fish swimming around. I thought that was quite nice.
Can I have inanimate pets?
I think you already do, don't you? Didn't you have an IBO? Yeah, you did.
Don't
You
you?
had an IBO.
I did have an IBO, yeah, but I've sold him now.
Don't you have like an entire drawer of Tamagotchi or something?
I've got like software Tamagotchis running on Pies, or I used to, but just for experiments. It's no real Tamagotchis anymore. I'll think of something. I'll find a pet. Oh, I've got one here. Does a money pot in the shape of a tortoise count?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a very, very quick no.
That's it. I'm sorry, I don't have any pets. I'm out of pet ideas. Anyway, never mind. So I think last slide. I think next. This was your idea, Daryl, to include this one. OBS.
It's cool. We use it all the time. You've seen us using it constantly. Duke's using it right now.
Yeah.
It's free and it's awesome. And I think it'd be really useful if you guys could just take a little bit of time to play with it and see if you can factor in how you can use it in Teams, or if we ever use Zoom again in any video chats. As I said before, that is the piece of software that we're using to allow us to put a video stream from our cameras directly into several different video chats simultaneously. You can very rapidly switch from one setup to another. You can do fades. I mean, that's what it's designed to do. So it means that you can have your work that you're trying to demonstrate to your lecturer, taking up most of the screen, but you can have, exactly like Duke's been doing throughout this entire process, you can have a video window of you, so we can still see you talking. And I can't emphasize how really vitally important being able to see the students is. It makes a massive difference. We were joking earlier when we finished the stream that there were loads of people left over at the end of that stream, and we didn't know if they'd been there at all. They could have just very easily started the stream running, turned to one side, and been on the Xbox gaming for the whole session, not really paying any attention to what was going on. At least when we've got a camera, we can tell if you're there. We can tell when you're nodding along, and even if you just basically put it on a loop and it's just nodding. Maybe that's not the best idea, but you can do that.
Don't give him ideas.
Don't give him all your tips, Daryl.
Yeah, I think I've got one of those kicking around somewhere. Actually, thinking about it.
If any of you are getting feedback from Daryl and he's just sat nodding his head like that, it may be a loop.
No, but
I think I might have deleted it actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Damn it!
I do like the fact that we introduced Daryl to a new bit of technology. It's like OBS.
No,
Wow, magic.
I haven't deleted it. There you go. There you go. You can have that anytime you want it. You can have me just sat paying attention. Yes, I am so engaged, so very, very engaged.
Yes, this new magic technology.
Do you know when it was released, OBS?
It's got to be quite a long time ago now, actually, because Twitch.
If anyone in the chat knows, if they give them long enough, they'll probably Google it. 2012.
Tell us.
2012. Wow,
it's 8 years old.
It's great.
Yeah. But the reason why we're sort of saying experiment with OBS, because it does allow for some really interesting sort of ways to demonstrate work, ways to have discussions. And I know probably a lot of you, if you stream at all anyway, just for gaming purposes, you're probably quite familiar with it anyway. But you can actually just incorporate it into university life now. And now that we are going to be online, it does allow us to experiment as gamers. Actually, one thing that I've noticed, I don't know if you two have as well, is that the transition to online has been really difficult for some courses and some lecturers.
Yeah.
But for us as gamers, we've kind of just gone, cool. What cool technology can we use to incorporate? What can we do that's really interesting? And I know that Duke, you were saying that someone else jumped into a chat the other day and said, "How did you do that?" And it's like, oh, it's just streaming OBS.
Like stuff that technicians asking how we were overlaying cameras and feeds and So that's just what gamers do, or streamers do, in terms of content. I mean, we're not pushing streaming technology in any real way, are we? We're not doing all the cool Twitch integrations. You know, we're keeping it quite low level, really, because we don't need all of that stuff. But it can be incredibly powerful if you want it to be.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
not something we need.
I think the key thing is, as far as our students are concerned, yeah, more than 90% of them just had the kit anyway. They were already PC gamers. They got the PC, they got the headset, and one extra free piece of software, and away they go. I think the issue really has been that a lot of them didn't own decent webcams. And of course, as soon as the thing that shall remain nameless happened, the cost of a webcam went up, spiked for. I mean, I've not checked. They probably drop back down a little bit more at this stage. And you don't need something awesome. You don't need a broadcast quality webcam to engage. You can get a cheap one for just a few quid and engage properly.
I think the webcam discussion for both lecturing and sort of online classes and for work is a really interesting discussion in itself. There's lots of articles online. I've read quite a few already that are saying that they're worthless in meetings and they're worthless in online classes, and others that are saying actually no, they bring that dynamic of communication, because as we were saying, is that only about 10% of communication comes through verbal. The rest is body language, eye contact, all those other different things. So there's a lot of different sort of discussions to have about the idea of cameras, but the one that always pops up of the reasons why people don't want to use them is self-conscious about the way that they look. I don't want to see myself on camera. I don't want others to see what I look on camera. And I can completely get that. Sometimes I just catch myself on the corner of a screen and I go, oh, wow, look at that. I've got like greasiest forehead ever or whatever. Or I just look weird with my asymmetrical face with one eye higher than the other. But that's just how I look. And you kind of just have to come to terms with that and get to grips. But
I'm just very glad I had a lot of plastic surgery when I did it.
It's something that most people don't. For me, anyway, I'm not bothered about what someone looks like on the end of the camera. I'm more bothered about the discussion that we can have on that camera.
I mean, ultimately, we kind of know what you'd look like anyway. What difference does it make? I mean, I could understand if you were, this is on TikTok or something where you're trying to get people to think you're super cool and all that sort of stuff. But all I'm interested in is that you're paying attention.
Daryl throwing the term TikTok like that.
I don't know what it is.
I've heard of this thing.
Technically, I've heard you mention it. That's about it. I hear you're a great fan of it.
Jake has a good point. Having a camera means you have to get dressed.
That's not true.
Only from here up, right? You could get a crop top T-shirt.
Daryl, don't stand up. Let's not.
No intention. Look, I'll show you my knee. There we go. Clearly not wearing very much.
Thanks for that.
Leave that to your imagination. But yeah, what difference does it really make? And ultimately, we're in small groups. And I would also add to this that Matt's right. I think there's a massive world of difference between delivering a lecture or doing a very didactic class where, even if you're in small groups, certainly if you've got doing a lecture to 100 people, you absolutely don't want to be looking at 100 faces. And if you're doing a didactic, you're just delivering from the front. And we've moved to doing all that content as pre-recorded now, which is, we said it's weird. What I could probably do with this is like a little Zoom chat with about 3 people to deliver to them. That'd be the ideal. But realistically, it's those smaller groups, and Matt's already talked about putting people in sets. When you're talking kind of one-to-one or one to a few, you want that feedback, as you don't feel like you're doing anything useful if you're just talking to a blank screen. It's you try doing it. It's weird, and I can't get my head around it, quite frankly. So I really would appreciate everybody having a camera and utilizing it when we're at least in small groups.
Yeah, I think the small groups is the important bit there. It's like if we're in a bigger group, it's not a big deal because you're just delivering content, but it's the small groups that are important. Like I just before I came here to do the live stream, I was just doing a little final year project meeting with my final year project students, and they had the cameras on, and it was great to see them and talk back and forth, and we had a great little discussion. And that, I think that's what the cameras are there for. They're there for those smaller groups, not the big lecture groups. So just something to to think about going forward, as especially if we're gonna, because this is the norm for now, is that it does help a lot with those smaller discussions.
Cool. We'll start wrapping up, shall we? Because it's 45 minutes. So just a reminder for everyone who's not found us yet, we are on YouTube. So this video will be on YouTube. We're on Twitch. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we were on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, you're already on Twitch. And then Instagram, Matt pushes some bits and bobs out through Instagram.
Yeah, I haven't updated that actually in a very long time. I think I might go and take some of last year's work, and actually start posting that, because there were some really good pieces that came out of students from end of last year.
And
And
there's also HudUniGames.co.uk. So when we finish these streams, I tend to push out a note there. But again, I think we'll start updating that again. Tends to go quiet during summer.
Yeah, you just tell that perfect. I suppose you just said, I'm late. You can watch it on the website. There you go.
Hey, but yeah, we need to update the website as well.
So anyone that's actually stumbled here and watched this that potentially might be a new student for next year, if you go to HudUniGames.co.uk/open days or open day, there is a full video breakdown, video tour of the facilities and stuff that we've put together. So it's almost like a little virtual open day, so you can get a nice idea about what's going on here at Huddersfield. Yes, I was just double checking. / open day. No S. Days. And there's a tour. There's a bit of a talk. There's some examples of some work, and there's some links to the actual open days, which are going to be basically this live discussions, answering questions, things like that. So if there happens to be anyone that's watching on the YouTube video that stumbled across this, that's where you can go and get that information.
Cool. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think
no,
just everything.
I can just see one last comment from the comment section, which is it's barrel season, which is. It is. First years are going to be making a barrel very shortly.
Cool. Right, so we'll hopefully see you all next week, either in this vlog or in our teaching. Okay. See you all later.
See you later.
Vic's talking to me.